So we got the Turkey Day games. We got the starts and sits for the Bears taking on the Detroit Lions Thursday at 9:30 a.m. That's on the West Coast time. What is that? 10:30, 11:30, 12:30 on the East Coast. So we're gonna start with our boy Andy Dalton on the Chicago Bears. Actually, was not too bad this past week when he came in. What was that in the middle of the halftime? It's crazy that like Andy Dalton's a saving grace for the Chicago Bears, at least for fantasy. It seems that way.
Yeah, so I mean he comes in after Darnell Mooney gets hurt. This is more of a streaming option here. You got Patrick Mahomes on a bye.
After Justin Fields gets hurt.
Yeah, after Justin Fields gets hurt.
You said Darnell Mooney.
Oh, my bad. Justin Fields gets hurt, my bad.
Darnell Mooney playing quarterback.
Yeah. But yeah, Patrick Mahomes on a bye. If you're in a double quarterback league or, you want to do a daily fantasy, DraftKings, FanDuel, one of those things here, I think Andy Dalton was probably dirt cheap, especially on these Thanksgiving Day games. He'd be a guy I'd probably trying to stream so I can get some better options at the other positional positions. But, yeah. I'm not rushing to get Andy Dalton into my lineup here, but I'm not mad at the potential upside he brings in a decent matchup against the Lions.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Going up against the Detroit Lions is definitely a good matchup on Thanksgiving. Get some points early. I don't know. It's kind of crazy, but I'm thinking about playing Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton's projected less than Tim Boyle, but guess what, guys? It's not going to happen. Okay? Andy Dalton should beat out Tim Boyle. So you're saying start him?
Double quarterback leagues, DFS, yeah. Depending on, like I said, depending on who you got there. I mean, at this point, just name off the top of my head, are you starting in Andy Dalton or like a Ryan Tannehill? Because, Tannehill's looked pretty bad with
like a lot of options.
Julio Jones banged up, A.J. Brown's a little banged up. Tannehill's throwing to, third, fourth, fifth string options at this point. So, would you start Andy Dalton over a guy like Tannehill?
Right, that's the hard part. Is like I'm actually in that situation in a league, so it's like I might actually do that. I might make a move. I might make a move and grab an Andy Dalton-esque person. Yeah. I might grab somebody there.
So I would. I'd be dialing up Andy Dalton over a guy like Tannehill, which is gross to say, but I'm mad at it.
Okay, let's go on to the running back position. David Montgomery, I think you're 100% starting him against the Detroit Lions. What do you think?
He was a guy that we talked about earlier, when he was banged up, on some trade targets to go out and try to acquire. And even though he was banged up, he was the guy we said, hey, go out and get him if you can, buy him on the low because he was hurt. He missed 4 games. But since he returned, 85% of the snaps and 95% of the snaps.
It's crazy.
He's the guy. He hasn't had a crazy good game yet, but those games were at Pittsburgh and then against the Baltimore Ravens, who have a tough defense as well. So this week, in Detroit against the Lions, their run defense is not very good.
It's literally his second worst.
Second worst, yeah.
So and fantasy points against per game, and like a lot of categories.
Yeah,
and yards.
So if you could somehow pull off a trade, I know he did play on Thursday, but if you could somehow pull off a trade and still buy low on him because he hasn't come out and had a crazy good game yet, sign me up all day because the schedule down the stretch is pretty juicy for him. He gets week 16 and week 17. Against Seattle and the Giants. Those are both green-rated matchups. And then this week against the Lions, next week against the Cardinals, those are both green-rated matchups as well. Green-rated obviously meaning good, red meaning bad. So, yeah. Love me some David Montgomery. One of my favorite players in the league just personally.
Yeah, definitely. I was excited the year he came out too.
Yeah.
Didn't show up till – it took a while for him to show up actually. But let's go on to the wide receiver position with Allen Robinson. Now that – you prayed – for Andy Dalton to come back to help Allen Robinson. Are you going to would you double flex Allen Robinson? Would you flex him at this point? Because I know we've been saying just sit him. But at this point with Andy Dalton coming back, are you possibly saying to start him? I'm in a position where I might double flex him. I might throw him in there.
Yeah. So if he plays, I'm going to play Allen Robinson because I do feel more confident with a guy like Andy Dalton at the helm who's a journeyman quarterback to be able to get him the ball. I know Darnell Mooney's been booming, but at the end of the day, Allen Robinson, to me at least, is still the best wide receiver they have on the team. But Allen Robinson missed this last Sunday with a hamstring injury, and he hasn't practiced on Monday or Tuesday, so he's kind of trending in the wrong direction of he might miss this game as well, especially because it's a short week when they play on Thursday before Thanksgiving. So you got to monitor it here. Will he play? Like I said, it's not trending in the right direction, but if he does play, depending on who you have, because I feel like the wide receiver position is the deepest position, obviously, in fantasy football. You can go out and get a guy like, for example, last week I went out and got MBS off the waiver wire, ends up getting me like a 30 burger. So, there's so many options you could potentially have. But, if he plays with Andy Dalton at quarterback, I do have more confidence in him as long as the hamstring can hold up and he can stay on the field. I'm not mad at having Allen Robinson in the lineup.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if he can play, obviously those not practicing's not looking good, but yeah, I mean, there's other guys. Will Fuller is available in a lot of leagues. Do you think Will Fuller would play this week?
Will Fuller?
Yeah.
I do not.
Okay.
I do not. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
We'll see. I don't know. It's crazy because he's got like a broken finger, and I don't know. That guy just can't seem healthy. Even like ACLs, hamstrings, broken finger. It's just like the guy's made of glass. I don't understand. Will Fuller, but yeah.
But let's keep going with the Chicago Bears. That means Darnell Mooney is our guy this week. This is the start of the week for wide receiver in this game. Because listen, out of all the wide receivers in this Bears-Lions game, who are you going to start? Who do you feel the most confident about starting? Because it seems like Darnell Mooney might be the guy. Because I'm not feeling confident about Khalif Raymond.
No, definitely not.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not feeling good about any of these Lions receivers. I'm not feeling good about Allen Robinson, even if he does play. But Darnell Mooney, it seems like this is the guy where you're like, okay, I'm 100% down to play this guy.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. I mean, back-to-back games where he's had 20 or more.
I agree with you, Mike.
I agree with you. Back-to-back games where he's had 20 points, 16 targets last week, gets you 121 yards plus the long touchdown. I mean, if Allen Robinson doesn't play, he's the guy that this passing attack is going to move through. Obviously, they got Marquise Goodwin there. You got Cole Kmet. We'll touch on in a second. But, who's the guy who's going to see probably 10, 12 targets again? It's probably going to be Darnell Mooney. So, we've kind of seen him have a mini breakout towards the middle end of this season. Just a guy that, I think we both agreed we're pretty hyped on. I know Andre was pretty hyped on him. Coming out of Tulane, I believe it is. But yeah, dial up Darnell Mooney for sure in this one. I'm definitely trying to get him into my lineup 1,000%.
Yeah. I mean, he was a limited participant in today's practice too, so keep an eye on that. But that was on Tuesday. So if he plays on Wednesday or if he practices on Wednesday, it's looking good. So that helps as well. All right, you ready? Move on to the next one. We got Cole Kmet, the tight end position. How do you feel about this one? Because go Rose.
Yeah, I'm going to be passing on this one right here. Cole Kmet's a nice name to just know going forward. I mean, he's been kind of consistent in terms of the targets. Last week was kind of down, but I mean, prior to that, 8, 6, 6, 5. So I don't know if it's just, you always touch on it, Mike, a rookie quarterback, an inexperienced quarterback. They tend to lean on the tight end position a little bit more. Maybe that's why we haven't seen Justin Fields really, throw outside the numbers or stretch the field with Allen Robinson. Is because he's leaning on guys like Darnell Mooney and the run game and Cole Kmet.
Yeah.
I think one of the hardest things they always say for a quarterback is throwing outside of the numbers or towards the numbers.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing for a NFL quarterback, and obviously Justin Fields not very good at that, at least not at this point in his career. So, yeah, I'm not starting Cole Kmet in this matchup. Would I be surprised if he comes out and have a good game because Andy Dalton is at the helm now? I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm not rushing to the waiver wire. I'm not rushing to get Cole Kmet into my lineup, but I do think going forward he's an interesting prospect, for next year potentially. Or if you're in a dynasty league, maybe you go out and you trade for him because I think going forward he could be, he could turn into something, especially because I'm not expecting Jimmy Graham to be there next season.
Yeah. Keep an eye on him. Go on your watch list. Let's go on to the Bears defense. this was actually one of our defensive streams on the waiver wire episode. I like it going up against the Detroit Lions, playing against Tim Boyle. We talked about how Tim Boyle is not good. Look at his college stats; it's very bad. I mean, you'll probably see the graphics and all the memes and dude, it's everywhere now. It's kind of become aware, and even if Jared Goff does become the starter,
not worried about it.
Yeah, I'm still not worried about it. Obviously Tim Boyle is way worse, but yeah, either way, I'm still kind of excited to light up the Bears defense on this one.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of sucks because Khalil Mack, one of the best defensive linemen, edge rushers in the NFL, he's out, he's hurt. So obviously that kind of downgrades this defense to a certain degree, but they still have some pretty good, defensive linemen, linebackers, and one of the better secondaries in the league, in my opinion. At least the Chicago Bears do. So, yeah, and you said it kind of off air. It's Thanksgiving. It's known for turkey, and it's known for watching the Lions lose football games. So
the problem is that they're playing the Bears. It's like it is a division game. It's I think we played this.
Could they sneak out this win? I don't know. If we heard someone reference him earlier as if Tim Susan Boyle is the quarterback, they're definitely not winning this game.
You're right.
If Jared Goff is in the game, maybe they got a chance. Maybe. I mean, the Angels could win the pennant, right? But, yeah, I'm not banking on it. I'll just gamble on the fact that Lions offense, not very good. I can't remember. Don't quote me on this one, but I think I saw a stat where it's like the Lions haven't scored over 20 points since week 1 or something like that. It's like something insane. So, it's not a high-powered offense that you're afraid to play against. Yeah. Dial me up.
Some Bears defense.
The Chicago Bears.
Hey, did you like that video? No, not the one of Big Ben completely eating shit when nobody even touched him. I'm talking about our fantasy football video we just did. You just watched. Well, guess what? That was just a clip from the full audio podcast. So if you want to check out the whole thing, links down below. AVG Fantasy Football Podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, all of them. Anywhere you can get audio podcasts, we're there. Go ahead and check it out. And if you don't want to look at your fantasy team to look the way Big Ben does right here, wait for it. Come on, replay. This is your fantasy team. But that won't be your fantasy team if you subscribe to AVG Fantasy Football. So go ahead, subscribe and like this video. Subscribe to the channel and like.